Welcome back to another episode of Sentience, Conversations about Lives Being Lived. I'm your host, Alison. Something that I have been pondering a lot lately is the idea of coincidence. When alignments happen or a seemingly impossible dream suddenly comes to fruition right in front of you. When you think of a person or a place and then see signs of them in every direction, or even more profoundly, hear directly from them. How is this happening at this very moment, and how is it even possible? I find these moments to be a truly extraordinary experience, and one that I never take for granted. Through the years, countless people have brushed off these moments when I share them saying, "Oh, that is just a coincidence." It has always bothered me when I hear this, because the possibilities of something greater are not even being considered. Energy, unseen forces, human connection. This is the school of thought I find the greatest knowledge and joy in, and learning to fully embrace that has been quite liberating. I remember a moment from my young adult years when I was in love with the idea of learning the art of gourmet cooking. I was in the produce section at the grocery store with a printout of a recipe for some fanciful dish. I honestly do not even remember what the dish was, but what I do remember quite vividly was standing there reading the ingredient list and saying, "What is a shallot?" As I was simultaneously turning to face the onion section, coming face to face with a large pile of, you guessed it, shallots. A coincidence? I do not think so. By the way, ever since that moment, shallots have been a staple in my kitchen. They really are a wonderful addition to many dishes. This is a fun, lighthearted memory, but more importantly, it is a reflection on the power of thought. As I develop new episodes of Sentience, I think about the incredible individuals who have come into my life over the years. I have met many people. Some have remained for a fleeting moment, and others for the long haul. But all came into my life for a reason, I believe, so we could learn from one another. All of them a gift in their own unique way. Over the past few months, I have been working toward coming out of hibernation and getting back to a more active lifestyle, while also surrounding myself with inspiring women that just get it when it comes to the complexities of life. As it happens, Sentience's guest today is a groundbreaking powerhouse in the martial arts world and a fierce presence for women that lead in a world that often seeks to shut us down. Coincidence? No. That is energy and human connection at work. Aline Krisner, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you. I'm very excited and grateful that you are here on the show today. I feel like we have so much to talk about.
I know, it's an honor for me.
Well, before we get started, I wanted to say congratulations. Just last weekend, you were in Kauai for the Hawaii Triple Crown Kauai Open, correct?
Yes.
And you took a team that did really well?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. That sounds really amazing. And I look forward to talking about that today, but congratulations.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. Okay, well, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Aline. I'm a girl from Rio. I was born in a small town. I started martial arts when I was 14 in a social project. It was free for women, for being more popular between women. Wasn't like a main thing, and the professor offered a scholarship for women training for free, for get a chance to know the sport. And since there, I never stopped and I never quit. I'm here now.
So this was when you were 14
yeah,
that you started?
A lot ups and downs and tries to retirement, but yeah, I'm here. Still on.
Okay, and so this was in Rio, and it was all women that were in this group that were training?
No, it was all guys, and they invited women for training for free for see if they can equilibrate more these numbers.
I see. Okay,
and won that time.
So were you the only woman in the group?
No, not at all. When they offered for free, a lot of women in my neighborhood tried, but few stayed.
Many tried, but only a few stayed.
Yeah, we're talking about over 25 years ago. Yeah, and in the 90s, it was really hard. Really hard. I remember is stuff like the mothers of my friends in the school time say, no, she's not a good company. I want you stop the friendship because she does jiu-jitsu. Was a really look at her with a horrible eye by the society, the local society at the time.
Wow, wow, and this was in the 90s?
Yeah.
Wow, that wasn't that long ago. And how is jiu-jitsu and martial arts viewed in your community in Rio today?
Yeah, no, jiu-jitsu is always popular. It started spread out by the whole Brazil from Rio, and was very, very well practiced and accepted sport. But at this moment, it was like a breaking paradigms for women join and be popular. It's still like women find a lot of barriers and obstacles today, like the premiations, the price for men is different. It's like way too much to be, like sometimes you see events with like the woman premiations like 10% of the men price.
Really?
Yeah. We have a lot of going through, but you know, every day, every time a woman open a path for the next. Yeah, you know, we're going through in all the generations since that.
Wow, wow. Well, you have lived all over the world studying jiu-jitsu. What brought you to Maui specifically?
It specifically was religion. Yeah, the main reason I'm here in Maui is religious purpose, because I always lived far away from my religion. When I used to live in Pittsburgh, I was driving all the way 9 hours and a half to my closest church in Connecticut. And when I live in Los Angeles, I was driving all the way up to my church in San Francisco. And when I decided to open my school, I say I don't want to drive much for this commitment to my church. And I want to live in a place with beach. My church is a small Brazilian spiritual community. And we have like something like 9 or 10 churches around the whole USA. And I say, wow, summer beaches and the church there, it's Maui. Oh, okay, easy to pick. We have in Florida, but I don't connect it.
Didn't feel called to it.
With Florida at all.
Wow.
I don't like to live in Florida. I don't want to say because you never know the day of tomorrow, but I came many times to visit the church in Maui and do like a volunteer work in the land. And now I would open my school in anywhere, you know. But this church commitment was the main reason up front the school.
That's what brought you to Maui. And you've lived all over the world. So you lived in Europe, correct?
I live in London.
In London, okay. And was it Dubai?
Yeah, I spent a couple, I would say 40 days in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
studying jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, like teaching.
Oh, teaching.
Teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that is quite a journey. And you lived in Los Angeles, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. From Rio to all of these places all over the world.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing, amazing. Well, okay, so I'd like to talk a bit about jiu-jitsu and the history of it. In preparing for this episode, I've been doing lots of research and really immersing myself in this world, and my goodness, there is just so much history, and I was always very curious what the connection was specifically with Brazil and this martial art. Why is Brazil so connected to jiu-jitsu? I never understood that. I always just knew they went hand in hand in a lot of ways. And so as I was learning about the background that went back to Japan, it was the early 20th century, or like the late, that's when it started to grow. It was in the 40s. In Brazil. So as I understand it, the sport was somewhat dying in Japan, like with the samurais, that era was dying, and they were becoming more modern. And Maeda Maida brought it to Brazil and
Yeah.
ended up being in a circus performance that one of the Gracie family members happened to see this performance in a circus. This amazing martial art was in a circus performance. He saw it there and then started to develop what became this legacy with the Gracie family. And I just started going down so many rabbit holes of so much information and what the Gracie family has created in Brazil and around the world. I mean, it started with a few brothers, correct?
Yes.
That evolved and is now global and multi-million-dollar industry. I had no idea that the Gracies were connected to UFC and the development of that. And when I lived in California, I was actually a member at the UFC gym, and I loved it. I loved the energy that it had, and versus going to a regular, health club and doing regular exercises, there was something next level. It even had a ring in it that you could take classes in. It definitely was not, official MMA fighting or anything. It was more for exercise. But I was very appreciative of that gym, and that this one family created this whole empire really in Jiu-Jitsu. And so instead of me going down tons more rabbit holes, can you talk a little bit more about the history of what the Gracie family did in Brazil and how it's in modern day society now with the schools and your work with that, your connection with that?
Yeah, since I know the circus history, I didn't know, and I assume many people in Jiu-Jitsu, even the old generation, doesn't know. I never heard. It's the first time. Thank you.
Oh.
But since I know this history you told match with the history I know. The history I know, the Japanese master names Conde Koma, came to Brazil, to the state called Pará. This state is a huge state in Amazon area.
Okay.
So Amazon, it's a lot of states connected in north, Brazilian north. And this state called Pará, it's where from the Brazilian Gracie family are from. And this Japanese Jiu-Jitsu master called Conde Koma taught Jiu-Jitsu for the Gracie family, for the first Gracie on the time over there. Mm-hmm. And then they start to practice and spread the sport around the family. This guy who was taught by Conde Koma taught to his brother, but Pará was not like so well known, like let's call Rio, the Los Angeles in USA, whereas the TV channels, the news, the newspapers, the most popular, the highlights of Brazil was in Rio. And then they traveled and moved to Rio to make this sport popular. About the UFC, the connection is, they start to challenge at the beginning another martial artists. Like they challenge the judo, they challenge Greco, Greco wrestlers, they challenge boxers, they challenge another specialist in other martial arts for combats against Jiu-Jitsu.
So
with the idea to make the Jiu-Jitsu prove to the people Jiu-Jitsu is efficient. Was not like UFC, mixed martial art. At the beginning was like Jiu-Jitsu against the other martial arts to make popular and prove the efficiency.
I see.
And they beat everybody.
So is that where...
That's the grandfather of UFC, these old school events.
I see.
In the gym, something very...
So it started very small, and it has evolved into this other world that it's its own entity now. Wow. And so is that what MMA would be, the mixed martial arts, where all of these different types of martial arts and fighting are coming together? Is that how that ties together
The
with UFC.
grandfather can see, I can tell this
Okay.
challenge from Jiu-Jitsu too. And as soon they prove the efficiency, they opened the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in Rio, was the Rio downtown, and the president was taking classes over there. Was another style, and was just the elite. Really, really expensive. Actually, the whole Grace until now they worth the value too much, and it's a really expensive schools.
I see.
And at that time, we had the Brazilian president practicing in this Rio downtown first Grace school, was something like only for the elite.
And now they have schools everywhere. And there's different types of Gracie schools, correct?
And all the different schools, which it's not Graces anymore, like Graces formed other people, and the people open their own schools, and it's not only Graces now in the world. Like my team is Checkmat, we have over 400 schools around the world.
And that's a whole different type of school, Checkmat.
My master is the founder. I have the honor to be black belt from Leo Vieira. He's a Checkmat founder. Among 400 schools, I got my black belt from the founder, Checkmat founder. And he was formed by Jacaré, means alligator is a nickname. But this Jacaré, it's formed by a Grace. You know, the roots spread out.
I see.
Takes like different directions.
It's amazing. And it all came from Rio for the most part. It's
original from Pará, when this Japanese called the first Gracie, and they decide to, we have a huge product. Let's make this.
I see. Okay.
A product like popular.
Wow. And what a legacy.
What a legacy.
What a legacy. And I looked at the family tree because there's just, I feel like every Gracie member is a
superstar.
A superstar, a fighter, or doing some sort of work in this world. And there's so many of them. So
I know.
I'm very impressed, and that's why I was like, okay, I can just keep going down rabbit holes here because there's just so much interesting information and history. What a beautiful sport, and what a beautiful, it's so much more than a sport.
If you're thinking about like judo has like 5,000 years, something like, and jiu-jitsu it's like 1940s, it's over like 80 years. It's a modern art.
It's a modern art.
And what's good to mention it's in constant creation. There is no the move is all done and solid. We can create. We can add new moves, new styles. It's a science. And every time we discover more and more to add.
Wow. Whereas the other martial arts are more...
The movies are done.
They can't change. Okay.
Yeah, and jiu-jitsu is more science.
Wow.
We can build, we can create. If you practice, you can create a move.
You can create a move. Well, what you had said about jiu-jitsu in a previous conversation we had, it's like chess for the body.
Yes.
I found that to be an extraordinary quote.
Yes.
And the visual with that really helps me understand the movement and flow with jiu-jitsu. So it's quite incredible.
Like water.
Like water. Wow. So as I understand it, jiu-jitsu is also a good tool for dealing with trauma work. And I've spent a lot of the last several years working on trauma and identity development, and I just see this as an extraordinary tool for that. I am very much in agreement because it's both for the mind and for the body, and to be able to release things that are maybe trapped. And so can you talk a little bit more about work that you've seen in the community where people who are coming from a trauma background, how they've benefited from jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, every day I receive messages from mothers with kids with autism, and asking if I'm okay with it in the class. And I have couple, and I'm receiving more, and they are totally integrated in the class. 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, I had one girl with special needs fighting fairly with the other girls. And TDAH, depth of attention. Yeah, and Jiu-Jitsu is a human tool development. It's a tool of human development. It's strong. It's way too strong.
So would you
goes deep in your soul. When you rolling, we call roll. When you put everything together, I teach you techniques like a puzzle. Today I teach you one thing, tomorrow another thing, another day another thing. And I say, now time to roll. You're gonna put everything together as a puzzle. And it's so deep personally that reveals who you are. I know the personality of each student of mine by the way they fight Jiu-Jitsu, because there is no mask, everything's fall down. And it's totally a presence. You cannot thinking about your bills. Like, you go to the gym and you lift the weights, but I'm thinking about my problems, like I'm lifting and I'm thinking about my bills, my questions. Jiu-Jitsu, you have to unplug your mind of everything else and try to survive. You don't have space in your mind to thinking anything else, but the person is trying to choke you out. You have to be aware of every single movement, every single eye command.
So you're reconnecting with your body and your soul in a lot of ways with this work. You're able to step out of that busy mind place, it seems.
Besides, there's amazing energy exchange. Sometimes I don't like to roll with a person I don't appreciate as a human being, doesn't have good attitudes, because it's an energy exchange, and I can feel and receive that energy when I roll with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I can see then how that would really be beneficial in the trauma work environment as an outlet.
Yeah.
An outlet in a lot of ways. Well, I recently just watched, in regard to that, I just recently watched a documentary from, I want to pronounce his name correctly, Haydon Gracie, who was the son of another Gracie fighter who passed away when Haydon was just a little boy. And so the documentary was really a look at his trauma. And what he did is he wrote letters to his father, who had passed, throughout his childhood and his teen years. And he states in the documentary that he actually, the whole family comes from a jiu-jitsu background, right? And he actually didn't really want to pursue that. And he stayed away from it, but then started training when he was a teenager, I think. And
I was there the moment.
You were there?
When he restarted. I think he was 14, 16.
Yes, that was about it.
Yeah, it was funny because yellow belt is the second belt. You can promote a kid like with 5, 6 years old, a yellow belt. And he was a big teenager. He's a natural huge.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
On 14, 16, he was a huge with a yellow belt, because it was the track where he quieted as a kid, because the Gracies doesn't have options when they are 4 or 5. They have to do.
They have to do it.
But when he decided
but
to
he
quiet,
didn't want to do it.
Yeah, and then when he decided to quiet, and when he started back, he was a big kid with a yellow belt. But I was in the class when he received the blue belt. But after yellow belt, we have a orange belt, gray belt, and then a blue belt. He was skipped because by the years he was too old for receiving kids' belts. Yeah, I have the honor to be in the Grace family for over 12 years, and I was in New York, Manhattan, in the Hands of Gracie School. And the day he was a yellow belt receiving his blue belt, it's a teenager, each adult belt. You can receive a blue belt as a 16, and as the first adult blue belt. It's the transition from teenager to adult, the youth from adult stage of belts.
Okay.
And then there's one teenager belt, the last one, and the first adult belt.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so yes, so the documentary takes place in New York, actually, and he healed his trauma through coming to the sport, which a sport that he didn't necessarily think he was going to do, and then found himself starting to compete and fell in love with it, and now he's a champion. That's amazing that you were there when he got a new belt. I mean, that's wow.
And personal.
What a small world.
Like, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart boy, a polite, a human being.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really like humble.
His film was a beautiful soul.
I know. I had the opportunity to have heard a podcast with him in Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he did some in English, but his personality, it's noble. Mm-hmm. It's higher. It's a really big heart kid.
That's amazing. I felt that. The documentary is Letters to My Father.
And now he's in London with the other master I use it to be student training. Wow. I used to be there, and now he's with that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I found it to be a really stunning look at his journey and really facing the darkness to get to his place of understanding in following footsteps. Deal with it.
And be like closer. My feeling is he wants to be closer to his dad by the martial art.
That's what the documentary was really focused on in these letters. He, I wish you were here, and hey, I won this championship. I did that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And the writing is a therapy. Mm-hmm. The writing is a lawyer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, so we talked a bit about, Brazil's history with Jiu-Jitsu. I imagine that there's martial arts schools and practitioners all throughout South America, but I feel like Brazil is still kind of the golden place for martial arts, at least in that part of the world. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that it remains there and it hasn't really expanded to the rest of South America?
Because Brazil is a poor country and it's hard to get a passport, to buy tickets and move to other places like a first world, better countries. We had the Brazilian Nationals 1 or 2 weeks ago, and it was 8,000 athletes, competitors, plus public. The most of these people never gonna compete the world. The world is in Long Beach, California. They need to get a ticket, they need to get a passport, they need to get a visa. This process for the Brazilian people is something like far away to get. It's not easy, and they don't have money, they don't have access, and they keep great people inside the Brazil. They don't have a chance and opportunity. Not all, we have a lot. I'm here. I know a lot of people did.
But it's hard to expand.
It's hard for most of the people pop the bubble in and explore the world.
Yes. Okay. And also there's a lot of pride with Brazilian culture, right? And really wanting, like, Jiu-Jitsu is Brazil's pride and joy in a lot of ways, it seems.
Yeah. Can't tell. We are still in the top in the tournaments. Like last year, the first American to be a world champion. We still get the world title.
Brazil's always there.
Yeah. It's getting the first Canadian get a world. Like, I have a guy from Checkmat. He's from, I hope I'm not wrong, Poland. His first Poland Pan-American. It's a really few people still getting the first place of the podium of the major tournaments, awards in Pan-American.
I see. Pan-American, the Pan Ams.
The Pan Ams.
Pan Ams, okay. All right, so I guess I have to say I really want to get to Brazil at some point.
Let's go. Let's do it. Just go.
Let's go. Yes. See, this is why I love you. Let's go and you can show me Beautiful country. So
It is.
all right. Well, you have talked about starting at about the age of 14. How do you? And so it's been in your life, for a while now. How do you feel Jiu-Jitsu has shaped your life?
I went through a lot of things. I'm not like the first example of good decisions when I was younger. I normally like to share one really connection when I was like 16, 19, I don't know. As a blue belt, I quit for a while because I could not handle the pressure of the society in the small town I was living in Brazil. Say Jiu-Jitsu is not for girls at the 90s. And I quite, but beautiful would be smoke cigarettes, go in the parties with like small clothes and dancing and getting drunk and for that open the door for getting drugged. Mm-hmm. And that's the accepted, that's the place it's nice for a woman be. And I believe in that moment. I could not stick with Jiu-Jitsu for a while. And then I was totally involved with alcohol and drugs. And then I used Jiu-Jitsu for heal myself. I said, wow, I gotta quit. At this moment when I have like one big break by this society judgment, I use Jiu-Jitsu as a heal. I said, wow, or either I go to a clinic, rehab, or either I back to Jiu-Jitsu and switch the plates of acai bowls, switch the environment, switch the community I live with for Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm a very holistic person. I always like to think outside the box. I'm not like, everybody's doing a clinic, drug addiction. Okay, I'm gonna back to Jiu-Jitsu and I'm gonna experiment the high emotions in tournaments right away and work it. Jiu-Jitsu saved my life again. That's the comparison I like to do. Like I left Jiu-Jitsu and I get in trouble by drug addiction, and Jiu-Jitsu was there for me, catch me back, save it back.
Wow.
But I was like, the only thing you want to do when you are a teenager is be accepted. Mm-hmm. And when the people refuse to accept you because one thing, unfortunately, I decide to say, okay, society, you're right, let's be a normal woman. I wasn't abnormal.
What is a normal woman? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And unfortunately, I deal with drug addiction for a couple of years in my life, and I overcome with Jiu-Jitsu. And now I'm here, and when I think about this past, I say, I needed to went through. My therapist say, yeah, you went through and then you cleaned it. Mm-hmm. And now you can save other lives. Because you know that feeling. It's a different, another Jiu-Jitsu professor never went through with drugs, once save students with drugs. I'm not saying they can't, but I did. Mm-hmm. I have the background. I know the steps, I know the feelings, I know the emotion, because I felt that.
Wow, so it has really, well, in talking about trauma work, I mean, it's really, it has...
Again.
It's changed your life.
Yeah, many lives.
Wow.
Many lives.
It's extraordinary, extraordinary. All right, well, wow, I just feel like we could talk for so long.
Yeah.
So many stories.
Maybe we can do part two.
You have won several tournaments and competitions, including the 2019 World Masters Championship. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge. That is huge. Can you talk more about how these moments of winning these competitions, I imagine they're pretty intense, going to these competitions, and do you go through like certain matches? You have to do a certain number of matches. Can you talk more about that and how that's contributed to your growth as a practitioner and as from your life, just in general, how those events play a role?
Yeah, I competed my first tournament 30 days after I started Jiu-Jitsu, and I was beaten up so bad. And then I don't have an idea in my mind to be a Jiu-Jitsu practitioner only. Since the day zero, I was in competitions. I was experiencing the emotions to compete, because it's another mood, it's another mind mood. It's the arena, it's the ref, it's your opponent, it's the coaches of your opponents, your coach, your teammates, the team. It's another kind of experience. It's another kind of mood your mind goes for. It's another flow. And then it's a high. It looks like you go into a trance, something like that. I can feel when I plug in the trance of the tournament. When I'm not, I've lost. It's really like a radio mind station. You have to link with the tournament, the competition, mentally. It's a flow. It's a different flow than the environment in the school. And I really don't know how is Jiu-Jitsu without competition since I joined it. Imagine I was like 15 years old, traveling without my parents to another city and be sharing bedrooms. And Brazilians, the style, we call favela style. The room fits 2, we put 15. That's the way, hustling. No sponsor, no money. And what's hard?
Make it work somehow, right?
It's a lot of adventure, I have memories from this first tournament. I travel without my parents. That's not only the time of the mat, but the whole, it's a trip, it's a travel. And a new city, I collect the takes that Jiu-Jitsu takes me until last weekend in Kauai. Like, take one more place Jiu-Jitsu took me.
All over the world
it's collecting moments and emotions, not only the tournament. The next day I did Kalalau Trail, but I was there for the tournament. Was like, we always around the world, around as much the money can afford the trip, we go.
Yes, as far as the money will take you, right? And see as much as you can.
Yeah.
So, wow, I just...
It's a lifestyle.
A lifestyle. I can see that. I can see that, definitely.
That's why it's so well practiced, because it's a lifestyle. It's not something you go 2 times a week for 1 hour and work, or even every day and work. It's you will wake up Jiu-Jitsu and you go to sleep Jiu-Jitsu. You travel with your school family, and like yesterday I had a guy in my school from Seattle. And I have a couple of friends, black belts in Seattle. He knows these people I know in Seattle. And these people in Seattle, this couple of friends, black belt, they went to my school a couple months before in a thought class for my students. It's an interconnection. I had a guy, where's the guys from? North Carolina, black belt. I have a lot of drop-ins because I'm close to the resorts in Kihei. And I have a black belt from North Carolina visiting. And I have a student from... he works with television, and now he's going to North Carolina training this guest is school. That's it. You make the friendship, and the guy from North Carolina came to my school and hook up with my student, and my students go be working his city, in his town, and gonna visit his school now. That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a community.
Yeah.
It's a global community.
Global community, and all interconnected. All interconnected. Either you see in tournaments, either you travel around and take opportunity to drop in some school class. Yeah. And the advice I say to my students, always put your gi in the suitcase and look up around your hotel where you're going to stay. And make new friends, do a different roles. You
never know. You never know what you're going to find while you're traveling.
Yeah.
And just always have that as a part of your life.
And it's a lifetime friendship. I have the same friends since day one.
Wow.
In 14 years old in Brazil.
Wow.
The same level of friendships. And now they're becoming so old. They're like white bear, white hair. And I look to them and I don't look so old like I am. And I say, wow, these friends, that's my age. These people almost 30 years. And it's the same level of friendship and the same kind of, I have the same.
And you don't find that a lot in life. So that is a gift.
Yeah, when you retire and rest, you You wear a suit. No, Jiu-Jitsu is like surf. You're 80 years old, you're doing Jiu-Jitsu. We have a World Masters. The division is above 30. It's not adult. Adult ends up at 29 years old. World Masters, it's after 30s. And then we have like 75 years old world competitors doing world championship.
75?
Yeah, the last division is 75 to 80. And we have people doing this division.
Competing. Wow.
Woman.
Wow. What?
Woman.
That is incredible. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we have a clip from a competition you did, so I'd love to run that so we can get a better idea of you at work. So if we can pull that up, please. That's amazing. That is amazing. And I'm curious, so you can compete with gi or without gi?
No gi.
No gi. No gi. So what is the difference? Because in this clip, it was both.
Yeah.
Both instances. What is the difference in a competition?
Yeah, it's two different sports.
So is that what they call grappling?
They call grappling.
See, this is another rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah.
So
totally.
was that grappling?
And I'm gonna tell you that, don't be surprised, American dominated.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Totally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a referee for NAGA, which is the North American Grappling Association.
Yes.
And as I understand this, you're one of 2 women in the entire country that refs.
In the company, yeah.
In the company.
Yeah, it's a worldwide company. We're gonna go be in Australia, Lisbon, Germany, London. It goes beyond USA.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the NAGA.
Yeah, they have the staff and the referees. 2 girls are among like 20 refs. Guys.
And you're one of them.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I have a short clip I would love to show of you reffing.
Sure.
If we can pull that up, please. You are just amazing.
She's a regular girl doing regular things. In my conception, I'm in this world so long, it's not like that. Wow, anymore, no.
Well, it's quite amazing, I have to say, because as a woman in this industry and in this world, you know, it's pretty much an uphill battle every day in most aspects of life. And so you taking on this world of jiu-jitsu, which is heavily male-dominated, is commendable, truly, truly. And you started Checkmat Kihei Jiu-Jitsu School.
Yes.
Here on Maui, which, like I said, is amazing, you know, in itself, that you're a female jiu-jitsu school owner, instructor, champion.
Only.
Yes, it's just you.
Yeah.
And Can you talk more about what that journey has been and what type of feedback you've received
Sure.
in pursuing that?
Sure. Mostly it's well supported and well admired. People stop me and say, hey, oh, I follow your work. Actually, I have a person, I don't know who is a man or woman, but they always leave in my door a belts and gis and a Walmart bag. And I don't even know where this came from, but really helpful.
They're donating them?
Yeah, they live in my school's door, and it's the second time. A couple months ago was a bag with brand new belts, all whites and purple and blues belts, brand new. And yesterday I opened my school and it was a gi. It's always Walmart bag. That's the mark for I kept as a person, and the person doesn't identify. I don't even know where this came from. Well, from most of the people is a place of admiration and following and inspiring even little girls. My students, my kids students, the attendance is I think is 90% little girls. A lot of pink gis and that. But I can share the parts of the issues I deal with, which is not a must. I have to be like very grateful for the whole support by the society, by the people. But I can share the Mets incident, the Kauai incident, and the Maui negative gossips they talk about me. The Mets incident is why when I bought my mats, and you know it's a huge money for shipping. It's like 700 pounds in mats plate.
And it fills the whole school.
Yeah, I paid something like 3,000 just for the shipping. And when I was there for receive, the delivery guy doesn't want to give me. They say, we need to talk with your boss. I said, it's me. We need to talk with the owner. It's me. But your little girl cannot be you. We need to talk with someone above you. I say, can you give me my mats that I bought with my own money, please? Sometimes we have to be a little more firm in the words, and the delivery guys could not imagine that how your little girl can have this whole school by herself. That's one. The next one, the Kauai thing, was a successful. My school shows up in Kauai as only the few schools shows up in this tournament. It's a beautiful performance. The kids team was all girls, all little girls, and one man student, adult. He's actually my coach. And I feel a little prejudiced by a couple people. When I was coaching my student, the male one, the adult one, you're his wife. I said, no, I'm the coach. And a few days after, I feel like they're not assuming I could be anything but not the coach. And yesterday, I talked with a couple of students who went to the tournament, parents and adults who went to support the team, and they don't want to be in details, but they say, wow, a couple people asked, where is your coach? And they pointing to me and say, oh, that guy, no, that girl. What? She's the head. Making funny, disgusting faces just because I'm a woman. And the third thing I can share is a couple of people in Maui I heard about this Brazilian, should be supporting me, should be proud of me, spreading out this sport outside the Brazil. Couple people, Brazilians in Maui, say it's impossible to learn from a man learn Jiu-Jitsu from a little woman. She's okay to teach kids, she's okay to teach women, but you're a man, you're never gonna learn something about this little small woman, not be a woman, but being I'm 5'1", being a small woman. And then moves to my white belt students in Kauai, being invited to fight in a blue belt division and beat a blue belt. That's
as white belts.
As white belt. I didn't promote him at all. Let's keep him humble and moving forward and head up, and don't hear that. You know, you'll be always there. I think in your field, in many other fields, we find this stuff.
I think that's one of the key components is stay humble and know your worth and know your greatness and keep looking forward and surround yourself with the right people, because that's, as women in this world, it's something that we deal with every day in some way. And I can't imagine what you go up against in the world of Jiu-Jitsu. It's an incredible sport, it's an incredible art, but it's also heavily dominated by men, very tough men, and so commendable. Congratulations, and don't stop, just keep going and keep growing and keep doing amazing things, because you're extraordinary, you really are. Well, I would love to run some footage from your students and the work you've done, so if we can please run that.
Muito bom, Zoe! Change the side! Change the side! Yeah, side control! 44, 42, 44. Good job, Zoe! 27, 26, 25. Mount, Zoe! Amba, Zoe! 90. Guess who I want to try? Some guesses? Jacob. He's doing so well. He's doing so nice. Helping the kids, helping the small kids. Yeah, you did doing a beautiful jiu-jitsu. It's the only one can fight fair with Elizabeth. It's the only one can go with Elizabeth. Line up. Line up. Go to the wall. Good job. Excellent. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I love you, Professor. It's an honor for me.
The kid been pushing for 2 days until you're not.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Benja.
Yeah, bro.
Parabéns, irmão. Yes, sir.
Coach. Mamita's gonna be jealous. She's very good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
You have a new spot on the line. You have it too. Good job.
I wasn't expecting.
I know. Let me see that one.
Oh, just beautiful, and just seeing the range of people that you work with, it's really beautiful.
Most of the whole family. I have the father, the mother, and the kid. I have a playroom.
Really?
I have a playroom, and the kids' classes after that is the adults, and the kids goes to the playroom, play with snacks. It's a colorful room with books and games and toys, and the door is always open. The parents can check the kids anytime in the class, and this brings the family together.
And as a mother myself, I remember the days when my son was young and when I was really into doing different classes and exercise. That is a gift in itself, to have that space so that the parents know that their children are engaged and safe while they're also practicing or exercising. That is wonderful.
It's no excuse to say, oh, I cannot practice because I have to stay with my son. It's not excuse.
Right, there's no excuses.
No excuses.
No. Well, your school offers several different types of classes, and one that was completely new to me, which is capoeira.
Yes.
I actually had the pleasure of attending a class last week to observe, and wow. I honestly, I had never been exposed to this before, and it's beautiful.
I
And
highly recommend you bring Fabio here to sit here with you and give you the whole.
if he'd like to be on the show, I would love to have him.
Please, you love.
That's definitely a show in itself, because
Yes.
what a stunning art form. And it took me a while to understand. It is martial art, but it's also art and
Dance.
It's
and
it's like
play
performance art.
instrument. Yeah.
And
So many things involved.
yes, and so can you, and there's a fascinating history behind it. Can you talk a little bit about how this specific martial art evolved in Brazil?
Yeah, it was a, how I can say, was a word of freedom from the Brazilian slaves brought from Africa. And they have a, how you say the house, the plantation house, the house of the owner, plantation house. Yeah, and they want to hide this kind of self-defense because they want to run away for freedom. And they learn how to defend themselves, but they make up with songs and dances and music for the owner of these slaves doesn't get there learning a fight. And then they put the party around it, and then when the plantation owner look far, they just say it's a lot of people just celebrating, clapping and singing and playing instruments. But it's not.
They were training.
They are training for the freedom. So slavery, a lot of. Yeah, Brazil was the most largest time who received slaves. We are 502 years of country. We have slaves for over 400 years. The slavery, the races, it's alive in the conscience, in the lives, in the behaviors, it's a pretty much
And now,
segregated country.
and this specific martial art is now embraced throughout the country, and it's I'm not sure if it's very well known in the United States yet. I know that there's pockets of it, but it's huge in Brazil, correct?
Yes.
Do you think, and it's, I mean, the story behind it is so powerful, and what it was developed for and what it has evolved into, and do you foresee it becoming something that is embraced in the United States as a mainstream form of martial art and dance? Or do you, like, what do you see? I just feel like it's people don't know about this.
Really?
I really don't. I mean, there's pockets of people and there's schools, I understand that, but I don't feel like it's very well known yet. And
Like Jiu-Jitsu.
like
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu, yes. And so do you see that blossoming in the United States?
Yeah, there is capoeira everywhere, not even in the United States. I know masters in Lisbon, Portugal. When I used to live in London, I heard about schools there. It's spread the word. Maybe it's not that popular like Jiu-Jitsu, but the capoeira is spread the word, and it's way too attracted because it's a whole cultural experience. You play, you sing, you clap. Even you don't do capoeira, you stay in the circle clapping and participating. It's like engaged, and I think people love it. People love that experience. I think, yeah, Jiu-Jitsu is really, really, really very, very popular. But capoeira,
It is.
there is a place in the people's heart. But yeah, not everybody.
I just feel like if more people knew about it, it would really blow up. I mean, it's so beautiful, and it's an incredible workout. And
Fabio teaches capoeira in Maui over 23 years.
really,
Yeah.
really, we'll have to talk
In
about
Maui.
him. Well, let's talk him into coming on the show, because I would love to do an episode just on that, on capoeira. I mean, I don't know if I could pull it off, but I would love to try.
Tonight,
Tonight. Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Fridays at 6
It's every Friday. Yes, Fridays at 6 p.m. In Kihei.
in North Kihei.
Yes. Okay, well, I have some footage from when I was at the class, and I did not partake in the actual movement part, but I did play music. I did not get that on camera, but I did Fabio gave me the opportunity to play some music, which was wonderful. So can we run that clip, please? It has been an absolute pleasure. You have opened up my world in so many ways to new experiences, and thank you for that. I'm so grateful to know you. I really am, and you are a gift. And so it has been a pleasure talking with you today, and I really love hearing about your work and your journey, and how you've embraced Jiu-Jitsu in so many ways in your life, and how you're so committed to female empowerment, just being yourself. Your fierce energy, bringing that into the world it needs to keep being brought to the world, because it's so important, and you're making huge impacts, and my goodness, I mean, you're an inspiration, really. You are an inspiration, and the work that you're doing with the youth, especially here on Maui, it's, as we all know, bullying is quite an issue. And
that's the way we met.
That's
right?
how we met. Yes, I should share that with the world, that you just stepped up to the plate, and a project I was working on in the community, you came out with your mats and you taught the kids self-defense, and that was more of a self-defense class that we did, and you taught them basic techniques with Jiu-Jitsu and
voice command, respect me, don't talk with me like that.
Yes, self-empowerment for
confidence.
Yes, and a phone call, and we chatted, and you stepped up to the plate, and that really shows how amazing you are. So thank you for that. And I'm so glad we had that conversation on the phone, and look at us now. So,
looking for have you as my student. So only woman program on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6.
Well, I suppose if I say this on television, I'll have to do it. But I used to do kickboxing, and that's one thing that I really miss. It's been a long time since I actively did that, and wow, I couldn't walk for days after I would do those classes, and I miss that, and I see that you have kickboxing, so I may have to come out. Is that also on Friday, right?
On Friday.
Yeah. I may have to, I've just said it on television, so I may have to do that now. Yes, I know. And you will not let me forget, I know.
Let's order a gi right away.
Let's get me a gi. Oh, wow. Well, I am in awe of you. You are amazing.
It's the same here.
You are amazing.
I admire you a lot too. Your work with kids education and TV. I really appreciate so much you as a person.
Thank you, Aline.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies that lead. We are ladies that lead in the community.
Ladies in the power. Ladies in the charge.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, this has been a really wonderful episode, and there was just so much to talk about, and we probably have several other episodes that we could do to talk, and but we have to end the show now. So until next time, I suppose. Until next time. And we'll have to talk to Fabio about coming on the show for Capoeira.
I recommend it.
All right, well, to learn more about Aline's work or to register for a class, visit checkmatkihei.com. Thank you for joining us for Sentience, Conversations About Lives Being Lived. All episodes can be watched on Akaku channels in Maui County and streamed everywhere on the Akaku Maui Stream app. You can also view all episodes on our YouTube channel, Sentience, Conversations About Lives Being Lived. I am Alison Samalita, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.